Good afternoon. To effectively implement Employment First in Illinois, the state must address its over-reliance on the use of sheltered settings to serve people with developmental disabilities. In recent years, Illinois has made strides in offering people with disabilities the opportunity to move from institutional settings and into the community. Yet despite this transition, many people with developmental disabilities continue to spend their days in segregated settings. Sheltered workshops are segregated settings that employ people with disabilities or where they work separate from others. The people who work there have little or no opportunity to interact with people who do not have disabilities, and frequently the work performed there consists of mundane, repetitive tasks for which workers are paid sub-minimum wage, at times only a fraction of the wage paid to their non-disabled peers. Many adults with developmental disabilities receive services through a home and community-based services waiver program. And developmental training services are one of the options under the waiver program. Developmental training services, which are also provided in segregated settings, are primarily geared toward developing daily living skills and promoting appropriate behavior. Although some developmental training programs may offer sheltered work for a portion of the day, many people in developmental training spend much of their time engaged in non-work activities for which they are not paid. Currently in Illinois, eligibility for developmental training services is presumed under the waiver. Eligibility for employment services is not. Neither sheltered workshops nor developmental training programs prepare people for competitive integrated employment. And the services provided there are not designed to reflect the interests, skills, and preferences of the individual, which hinders their opportunity to engage in activities that they find meaningful. A recent class action brought by the U.S. Department of Justice against the state of Rhode Island challenged the state's reliance on the use of sheltered workshops and facility-based day training programs for people with developmental disabilities. Because these programs unnecessarily segregated people with disabilities, the Department of Justice found them to be in violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Supreme Court's Olmstead decision. The case has resulted in the first statewide settlement to address these discriminatory practices. And I should add that there is a similar action now pending in Oregon in which the Department of Justice has also intervened. A number of states, including Ohio and Massachusetts, are working to make the shift from segregated settings to integrated settings for employment services. Other states, for example, Vermont, have closed all of their sheltered workshops. The foundation of Vermont's initiative was the belief that anyone can work in the community with the appropriate supports. Right now, there are two programs operating in the state of Illinois that perpetuate the use of sheltered settings. The first program is the Business Enterprise Program, which awards state contracts to businesses owned by people with disabilities. Sheltered workshops are included in the definition of a business with a disability, a business owned by a person with a disability. And they receive the overwhelming majority of contracts under this program. In 2013, sheltered workshops received 94% of the total contract dollars awarded under this program, totaling almost $40 million. The second program, the State Use Program, allows state agencies to buy products and services directly from sheltered workshops without open bidding. As I noted previously, many sheltered workshops pay their workers sub-minimum wage. These contracts, approved by a state use committee, do not appear to receive much scrutiny. In fiscal year 2013, sheltered workshops received $34 million in state contracts under this program. In order to reduce its reliance on segregated settings for people with developmental disabilities, The state should, through the Division of Developmental Disabilities, eliminate the presumptive eligibility for developmental training services and institute presumptive eligibility for employment services. They should also require service providers to inform people with disabilities about opportunities for integrated employment and require justification for not pursuing competitive integrated employment when developing individual service plans. The state should also encourage and promote the concept of a meaningful day by providing training and guidance to providers on developing service plans that explore and reflect the individual's interests and preferences. In addition, the Department of Central Management Services should reform the business enterprise program to exclude sheltered workshops from the definition of a disability-owned business and increase the percentage of state contracts to be awarded to disability-owned businesses from the current level of 2% to 7%. The Department of Central Management Services should also reform the state use program and require sheltered workshops awarded state contracts to pay their workers minimum wage and explore with them opportunities for employment in the community. This is precisely what Kansas has done to help effectuate its Employment First policy, and they have a very similar state use law and program. In addition, it is recommended that criteria be developed for the state use committee that align with Employment First, and that those criteria be applied to the awards of state contracts.